Hey, the 49ers have made their roster cuts from 85 to 80 players. So it's time to go through it in real time. And we're going to have a chance to watch me update the spreadsheet as it happens here. So without further ado, let's zoom in. The 5 players that the 49ers removed from their 85-man roster, which has now become an 80-man roster, are defensive lineman Shalik Calhoun, cornerback B.W. Webb, receiver River Craycraft, offensive lineman Corbin Kafusi, and linebacker Michael Kendricks, with Kendricks still being on the team but being moved to injured reserve with a turf toe injury. So you see the sheet here, and I'm going to make it bigger so that way I could zoom in and share it on the screen, and we'll go through these one by one and erase these guys because right now I'm still at 85. So obviously these were no huge names for the 49ers, but it is the next step in the process to get to 53 men. And at this point next week, the 49ers will have their initial 53-man roster set, the final one of the preseason, but the first one of the regular season. So nothing's ever set in stone in NFL. Everything's going to be changing on a week-to-week basis, mainly because of injuries. All right, so here we go. So we'll start with Shalik Calhoun. We'll just go in the order that the 49ers sent this out. Calhoun is a veteran. He's been released. That means a straight-up cut. Another team can sign Shalik Calhoun whenever they feel like it. I'm going to zoom in. Let me know if that's not enough. But we have to go to the right side of the line to find Shalik Calhoun. Boom. There we go. Shalik Calhoun's gone. Calhoun had what looked to be a sack against the Chargers during the joint practices last week, but he was simply edge rushing depth that the 49ers obviously weren't planning to carry on their 53-man roster. So since they had to cut to 80, they did so today. Now we go to B.W. Webb, another veteran who's just been outright released. So I had B.W. Webb right here, just to the right of the delineating line, not projected to make the 53-man roster, ahead of Devontae Harris. So we're actually going to move Devontae Harris up a spot. So again, to make this a little bit bigger for you, you see B.W. Webb gone. Devontae Harris, who the 49ers picked up last week, who I thought did some good stuff early on and pressed them against the Chargers in those joint practices. He immediately moves up one spot there on the pecking order. So the cornerback room now for the 49ers looks the same, but the immediate potential substitutes or guys knocking on the door of that 53-man roster, that's changed a little bit. I'm not saying Devontae Harris is knocking on the door, but probably a good sign for his practice squad chances. The 49ers must like him if they signed him and let B.W. Webb go. You have Dante Johnson and Jared Maiden, two, I think, legitimate 53-man roster candidates waiting in the wings here, obviously with Jaquiski Tart on the active PUP list as we speak. Okay, now we're moving to the 2 players who were waived. Now, a waive is different than a release. Waives happen when a player is still on a rookie deal in their first 4 years before they've surpassed 4 years of accrued service in the NFL. It's still a cut, but these players are not free to sign with just anybody. Other teams will have a chance to claim them first. And the first waiver for the 49ers is receiver River Craycraft. So move up to here, go to the receiver room, and there we go. You probably noticed that Craycraft was getting some return action in the game on Sunday. That's because the 49ers were likely to letting him put some stuff on film for potential future teams. So we'll see if somebody claims Craycraft, but we can erase him from the 49ers roster. All right, Craycraft is gone. Now the final waiver is offensive lineman Corbin Kafusi. Here you go. I have Kafusi, as you can see, at right tackle in depth. Kafusi played right tackle, and he gave up a sack to Jesse Lemonier of the Cardinals, who was the younger brother of Corey Lemonier, the former 49ers defensive end. Kafusi is the one 49ers offensive lineman who I thought looked truly bad in the game against the Chargers. Other than that, the 49ers' second-team offensive line, I thought, was much, much better than they were in week one. But Kafusi did not look good. He got beaten soundly on that sack, and that means that we will erase him there from the roster. So the backup 49ers here, the 49ers offensive line as a whole, we want to make this bigger again, is Trent Williams, Laken Tomlinson, Alex Mack, Daniel Brunskill, Mike McGlinchey left to right. Right now I'm projecting Jalen Moore to be the swing tackle. Injury, health permitting, without any injuries there, that's going to happen. Colton McKivitz is currently depth at guard, and the 49ers are waiting for Aaron Banks to return to practice. He's currently out with a shoulder sprain. The other lineman on the team, Sean Coleman's currently not practicing due to a knee issue. Senio Kelamete should be back at practice this week after hurting his back during the game. 49ers have been happy with Jake Brendel, their backup center. He played a lot on Sunday. And Tom Compton is just a known commodity. He's a veteran. I don't see him making the 53-man roster unless the 49ers really just need more depth that can play multiple positions. Obviously, Compton hasn't been good at any position, but he is a veteran. He does know the playbook, and if the 49ers need another body in that offensive line room, you can move him over to this side, to the left, but he's not there. And finally, we have one more move to get down to 80, and that is Michael Kendricks. Now, you could see here I had Michael Kendricks already highlighted in pink. Pink means that was an injury list projection. Kendricks does indeed go on an injury list, and he will go on injured reserve, which means that he is not going to play for the 49ers in 2021. So we'll go ahead and erase Michael Kendricks here. We are going to have to erase the pink injury designation there, but I'll do that later, and I'll put Kendricks on the injured reserve list. There we go. Now 85-man spots taken, 80, as you can see right here. So I could change this to 80-man spots taken, and I'll get everything else changed as we go. But the 49ers are down to 80 players on their 80-man roster. They have to be down to 53, their final preseason roster, next week. So that's how the 49ers do that. There is one notable exception today that wasn't amongst any of the roster maneuvers, and that was Maurice Hurst. Go to the defensive line again, and you see Hurst right here. Let's zoom in for you. You could see that I put Maurice Hurst pink. That means injury list projection. Why isn't Hurst on an injury list? Well, the way that injured reserve works, as we saw right there with Michael Kendricks, is that if you're placed on it before the regular season starts or before the preseason ends, you're not eligible to return at all during this coming 2021 season. To be eligible to return from injured reserve in as little as 3 weeks, a player must be on the team's initial 53-man roster, which is not set until next week. So I surmise that the 49ers, because Maurice Hurst is a valuable player and because he has a high ankle sprain and should be healthy in time to return again in 2021, I surmise that the 49ers did not cut him today because they're going to try to keep him and not cut him next week either. They're going to keep him on the 53-man roster, and then as soon as that 53-man roster is set, they'll put Maurice Hurst on IR. Because he'll be on that 53-man roster to start out the season, he'll be eligible to return in 2021. Now, to do that, obviously, it will take somebody else's roster spot. So the 49ers are going to have to find a veteran who is not eligible for waivers, who another team can't poach, like DJ Reed was poached by the Seahawks. They're going to have to find a veteran with more than 4 accrued years of service, and they're going to have to do a wink-wink, that wink meme. They're going to have to do a wink-wink deal with the veteran, cut him, and re-sign him the next day after they put Maurice Hurst on IR, and the roster spot is back open. Teams do this all the time around cut-down day, and I think we're going to see at least one such maneuver for the 49ers next week. So, yeah, somebody said cough, Jordan Matthews cough. It could be, but I don't know if Matthews is going to make the 53-man roster. Watch my roster show from yesterday. Matthews might be destined for the practice squad, but a lot can still happen here in the last week. Injuries are still going to happen. Guys are still going to impress. Guys are still going to disappoint. If you do go to my spreadsheet, which I am linking in the comments section right here, and you can work with it yourself, you could see the green and you can see the red. The green means rising stock and the red means falling stock. But anything to the left side of the delineating line in the middle in the gold section, those are players who are projected to make my 53-man roster. But we are down to 80. The 49ers have taken another step toward fielding their opening day roster. So if you have any questions, you better put them out there right now. But I am about to sign off. Anyway, everybody have a good day. And make sure to check out the roster. I'll be back with a quarterback video in a little bit too. But I know I'm doing a lot of those lately. Hopefully we're diversifying the content enough. Everybody take care. 49ers are at 80. That's Jerry Rice's number.